Hello. Thank you for joining us today for the Community Collaboration Info session. We're really happy you're here. My name is Jen Piccolo, and I'm the Director of School and District Partnerships for the Partnership for Student Success. I'm joined by two colleagues today. I'll kick it over to Dorothy.
Thanks, Jen. Welcome, everyone. My name is Dorothy Jones. I am the Director of Corporate, State, and Local Partnerships for the Partnership for Student Success. I'm lucky enough to work with Jen and Kate. Kate, I'll kick it over to you.
Hi, everyone. Kate Cochran, Managing Director of the Partnership for Student Success. Really excited to share more about this exciting challenge with you all today.
Excellent. Well, as you likely saw and is why you are here, the 2026 Community Collaboration Challenge is now accepting applications. We're excited about that. As you've heard, that's the word of today. And we will be accepting applications through January 16th, 5 p.m. Eastern Time. That QR code will get you to our landing page, and we invite you to scroll all the way through there. We have a lot of information we will voice over today. So we have a few slides. We thought this would be a helpful way to sort of anchor today's info session, but also we welcome you to include questions in the Q&A, and we will be answering those as we go, and we'll be holding time to try to address as many of the more generalized questions. Anything we're unable to answer, we do invite you to circle back to our FAQ because you may find the answer there. And then we'll be updating that after today's info session. So we're doing our best to, in real time, get you the answers, and what we can't, we'll follow up in that FAQ. So with that, let's talk a little bit more about the Partnership for Student Success. We want to do this because we believe that if you have a better understanding, if you're not as familiar with the partnership, that we want to make sure that to share a little bit about who we are, what our vision is, what we are focused on, because we believe this will also help you be more successful in the application process. So for those of you who are familiar, we're very happy you're here. And if you are already a supporting champion of the coalition, we're thrilled. And if you aren't, it's not too late to join. It's free to join. And really that is ultimately what we are focused on, which is building a coalition of organizations like yours, higher ed institutions, nonprofits, school districts, and really truly building this coalition to ensure that as many students as possible, all students get the evidence-based, people-powered supports they need. And when we talk about evidence-based, people-powered supports, we're really talking about those 5 evidence-based supports you see at the bottom of the screen. We're asking applicants to be thinking about this too. What would it look like to expand or pilot more evidence-based supports within your community to bring more tutors, mentors, post-secondary advisors, success coaches, and to bring more wraparound supports to more young people and their families? So with that, the challenge is an exciting opportunity. We're very fortunate that the Leon Lowenstein Foundation is supporting a 4th round of challenge awards. And what we are really focused on is, as I've said, support pilots or scaling of these evidence-based K-12 student supports. And when we talk about that, we really are looking for applicants to bring together a community of diverse stakeholders, and we're looking to support communities who are interested in that local collaboration to, again, think about how to expand supports to young people. The nice thing is that any 501c3 can apply, any K-12 public school district, any higher ed institution. We're looking for again, a diverse group of stakeholders to award, and of course, youth development, national organizations, and more. The awards do range from 5 to 10,000, and to no surprise, the amount will be determined based on the scale and scope of the proposed activities. So we do invite you to think about that as you complete your application, and you will have an opportunity to express the award amount that you're looking for, and of course, tell us a little bit more about how you intend to use that award. The other thing that's important to note, because the challenge is a 2026 opportunity. However, because there are some reporting expectations that have to still happen in 2026, we're looking for project activity timelines to be and deliverables to be complete no later than October 2026. So be thinking about that as you think if this is the right fit for the work that you're interested in supporting. We also wanted to make sure that people understand the disbursement because uh, this is not necessarily a grant per se that's awarded in one lump sum, but rather an award that is dispersed in three payments. And before we can do any of that, any awardee will complete a vendor registration with JHU's third-party pay system, and then through a series of deliverables. Will be awarded the payments in March, approximately in March, June, and September. We also want to make sure that you have a better understanding of what it is that will make, a successful application. And so when we bring together our reviewers using the rubric that's available. We'll be putting that in the chat to score the applications. What we are looking for and what the rubric is determining and scoring accordingly is applicants that are providing evidence-based supports to K-12 students and these are additional points, forgive me. These are additional points that we're particularly interested in seeing. So with every challenge, we are looking often for some particular, uh, you know, unique ways in which we can award and fund support communities. Though if you don't aren't able to um, apply and your project is not necessarily around one of these, that's okay. But these are additional points, and people often want to hear a little bit more about that. So the first one is we want to hear from you if you are providing evidence-based supports to K-12 students while also thinking about providing really intentional career-connected work-based learning experiences to those serving in the student supports. So really extending the learning opportunity to those serving in those student support roles. Also, we want to hear from you about uh, engaging high school students in PSS aligned roles, supporting their peers. So think about opportunities to engage high school students supporting other high school students or younger peers as tutors. And this year, we're interested in learning more about matching funds from other sources and whether or not you have any matching funds as you think about the project that you can indicate in the application. So these are some opportunities to offer some additional points outside of the traditional scoring rubric that you see there. Dorothy, anything I forgot? I'm going to hand it over to you.
I don't think you forgot anything in terms of this, but I'm sure everybody will let us know in the questions. So I'm gonna.
Great.
One thing that we're doing different with this call than the one in December is that we're moving these FAQs up. We have had a lot of questions. A lot of folks are asking very specific questions. A lot of times the answer is just very generalized, similar to look for similar questions based on what people are asking to see if that might fit your situation. And this is with the slide that you see on your screen is a great example. I'm just going to hop to the bottom one where it says, can funds be used for any of the following purposes? So we had a lot of questions of, can funds be used to pay for a for-profit tech service? Can funds be used to pay an external partner to provide this? Can funds be used to pay youth peer mentors? The answer is yes. As long as it is not listed in the prohibited spending, it is something that you can use the funds for. We just ask that you include that information in the application. So I'll circle back to that in just a second, but do you want to share, I don't know if we already did this, that the slides and the video are going to be shared out and posted to our website. So that's always a top question for folks. One of the main questions is how many awards are given each year, and it does vary year by year based on the amount of funding that we have, the amount of requests that come in, and also kind of however we need to make the money work. Some folks, ask for 5,000, some folks ask for 8, some folks ask for 10. So somewhere between 20 and 24 is what we have been able to award annually. And the question around, is the challenge primarily focused on funding new strategies, or does it also fund the expansion? And so the answer is both. Pilots, convenings to help plan for a pilot or an expansion, and expansions are all allowable and what we're looking for in terms of these applications. But we are looking for you to try something a little new, a little innovative, or focus on that expansion. So if your expansion is specifically saying, we want to hire X more tutors, that's not as appealing as we are looking to grow this program and we want to tweak it this way and we want to try this new partnership, and that would be definitely more appealing. I do have a question in the chat that I see. Typically, how many submissions do you have? It's been increasing every year. Last year we had 350, which was the most we have ever had. I think we are expecting something along those lines, or more with the current funding environment. I think we're currently sitting at something like 100, and we typically get most of our applications on the day that the applications close. And so that gives you a sense of what might be coming. That's where we're at. Does the program have to partner with a school or school district to be eligible? It is not a requirement. What we are looking for is bringing together stakeholders, bringing together different types of partners within the community to help address challenges and to do that work together. When we'll receive today's slides, we will send out an email once the video is ready and uploaded to the website, and they'll also be linked on the website. I would give us probably a couple of days, but Kate, let me know if I'm wrong there. Can funds be used for any of the following purposes? Again, each of those items that you see listed are allowable. Most of the questions that folks have about allowable uses is going to be a yes. These are the limitations. And again, these are on the FAQs that are listed on our website. You definitely download those, take a look at everything. But the things that you're going to be looking for are purchases of alcohol, first or business class travel, any of the purposes of influencing legislation or a public election, voter registration drive, anything, any activities like that. So generally speaking, if it's some sort of a stipend, if it is things like that, transportation, all of that is allowable. And that's kind of what makes this appealing, is that the funds really are flexible, and other grant opportunities may not be as much. So we will also get questions about submitting more than one application, or we have multiple sites that are interested, or we work with 6 different sites for this one particular organization. Can they all apply? There is no limit on the number of applications you submit. We do ask that there is some diversity in there, and it's not just the same application for organization A and organization B and organization C. However, it is unlikely that a single organization will receive more than one award. And whether that's different sites, different regions, different affiliates, again, unlikely. It'll just be one that we will try to focus on. And then again, one organization. So it's very unlikely. We will read through all of them. If we see those similarities, and we've seen them in the past where, we just could see that a site was switched out, we will watch for that. But go ahead and submit. If you have multiple ideas, go ahead and submit multiple applications. There's no limit. What we ask, so a big thing, and I'm sure you saw it on the application on the website, is that the deliverables. We ask for a deliverable, something that will be shareable upon the completion of the project that can help other organizations who might be interested in doing some of the same work. So if you need examples, we'll highlight some of this stuff a little bit later on. We have reports that we put together at the end of every giving cycle, and where we showcase the awardees and we showcase their deliverables. And so we're just looking for things that can help organizations that might want to follow in your footsteps have a little bit of a leg up and be able to access the learnings that you've had. We do ask that you participate in 2 virtual meetings. We'll do a kickoff with everybody, and then we'll do a wrap up. We'll also do an optional midpoint session for all awardees. And that is optional because we know there's a lot going on usually in that time frame. And the 2 that we are required to attend, the kickoff and then the wrap up, is usually a solid enough commitment. But we'll also do a one-on-one check-in meeting with typically either me or Jen. And we want to talk to you about what your project is. And this is once you've been chosen as an awardee, and help you kind of navigate any sort of questions you might have and be able to support you that way. And then we just ask that you share information with us on your progress, on your events and lessons learned, barriers, opportunities. Again, we're looking for learnings from these types of projects and opportunities that you are putting together that we can then amplify and share out with other organizations and help amplify the work. What we offer. So again, we've talked about the funding, somewhere between $5,000 and $10,000 based on the project and what the need is. Guidance as well. So we have this cohort model, which will allow you to connect with other awardees. You will be included in our CCC awardee group where we send special communications, things like that out to. We have an event toolkit that we created for the first round back 4 years ago, which was around convenings and getting different stakeholders together to talk about some of the challenges that folks are experiencing locally. So we have an event toolkit to help you plan for something like that. And then free technical assistance. We work with the 6 national organizations in each of the 5 areas that we serve that we're able to tap in for resources and support. And we're happy to do that as needed. And we have a ton of resources on our website. We have a ton of trainings, all sorts of support like that. So we're happy to share that out. And then also networks, access and introduction to network of communities doing this work. And we have, our 200 plus, almost 250 supporting champions. And we considered our Community Collaboration Challenge awardees one of those cohorts. That's a group that we reach out to on a regular basis. So that is what we offer. And I think, Jen, if you want to share a few examples of some past awardees.
Sure. And also, every time we've had the opportunity to fund the Community Collaboration Challenge awardees, we've provided an outcomes report on the landing pages. So you'll see there's a 2025 outcomes report we'll put in the chat, but also if you scroll down, you'll see every year the organizations that have been awarded. These are just some examples to get your juices flowing, to give you a sense of sort of what has been awarded in the past. And of course, you can read about more of them. So, for example, if you're a K-12 district, we're really excited to hear from you about perhaps some of the pilots or expansion efforts that you might be partnering with either a higher ed institution or community-based organization, or perhaps you're doing something in-house with your own staff. We were able to award the New York District 26 this really interesting summer mentoring opportunity, and it was a pilot. So it was a very specific schools in their district that they were piloting this mentoring opportunity to partner with a higher ed institution in their community. So they were able to talk about what this idea was that they had, how it aligned to the solution, the challenge that they were trying to meet, and what the pilot was going to sort of test, if you will, and determine what they could learn from so that they could then determine if they wanted to expand it more broadly. And we're happy to say they've continued this opportunity and have expanded as a result of that pilot that we were able to support. Another example is Bay Area Tutoring hosted the first of its kind catalyzing convening. So thinking about what your community needs and meeting your community where it's at. So perhaps in the case of Bay Area Tutoring, they realized that they needed to bring together the diverse stakeholders and really talk about what high quality, high impact tutoring looks like. So we were able to award them a challenge award to host the first of its kind convening and use that opportunity to sort of jumpstart additional collaborations. And again, bring together everyone who was doing high impact to align and to norm around what's working, what are evidence-based supports, et cetera. Another example is a nonprofit organization. There is a national Girls Inc., but a local affiliate applied, Girls Inc. of Chicago, and we were able to award them for near peer mentoring to their eighth grade girls as they transition from eighth grade to high school, and they were looking for specific expansion funding to support this very specific opportunity during spring break, which they have like a broad program that is about mentoring young women and really developing their leadership skills. But the reason that this was interesting was they were taking that model, but they were expanding it, adding a new feature. And really hosting for the first time a spring break design to bring together eighth grade girls to participate in their programming with some of their high school young women leaders to have a very targeted opportunity to bring mentoring and build relationships between these young people to get them ready for the eighth grade girls to get them ready for high school. So I elaborate there because I think sometimes project expansion, it's difficult to understand what we mean. But again, it's one thing to support uh, we're looking to support opportunities that really add a new element, a new feature, or expand the number of students that will be receiving these evidence-based supports, not necessarily to award something to, as Dorothy mentioned in the FAQ, to fund simply the same core programming that you would do with or without this award. Another example is Victoria College. They were able to do something really neat by piloting. They have dual credit courses, so the young people in their community that take dual credit, and they were able to support the local high school students that were taking those courses at Victoria College by providing those young people with college students as tutors and success coaches. And it was a very, it was a is a very intensive support. They had not done this kind of thing before with their dual credit students. And as a result, they've, of course, gone ahead and launched a more expansive project. So we were really happy to be a part of those. And these are just a handful of the examples that you'll read about in the outcomes reports. If you're looking for, again, ways or wanting to learn more about what we have awarded in the past. What do you think, Dorothy? Anything else to elaborate there?
I think it's great. I see Kate's been answering a lot of questions in the chat as
Yes.
well, so really appreciate that.
Yes. Oh, thank you for putting the outcomes reports in the chat too. Perfect.
Mhm.
So we're just moving right along here because we do want to make sure if there are additional questions we haven't been able to answer just by voicing over some of the information on our landing page and in these slides that we make time for that here. So what is next really truly is like we're really interested in hearing from you. We want you to submit applications by the deadline. We do want to note that on the landing page is an actual document of the application questions because the form itself does not save while in progress. So we encourage you to draft those responses in advance so you can just paste them into the form. We will, of course, then be passing on applications that qualify or meet sort of the expectations in the application to reviewers, and reviewers will be given the chance to review those throughout the end of January, early February, and then awardees will be notified early to mid-February, and then it's really important that whatever email you put in your form is one that you check often or is, has a person that is checking that. Just keep that in mind because we'll be sending an email confirmation letting you know that we'd like to award your project. And then within days of receiving that, we are looking for a response. So just want to keep a lookout there and make sure that the email you provide in the form is correct. Of course, we want to keep answering questions. We want to try to set as many people up for success as possible. And so we put our email in the chat here. Please feel free to keep emailing us. And then we do have one more opportunity before the deadline on the 16th. This one is specifically office hours. So this is a chance for you to register because you have a very specific question that you feel like hasn't been answered yet. And you want to get that answer and you feel like, you need that answer before submitting. And so come with your questions in mind to that office hours. It will be a little bit different than the way we've operated these info sessions, again, because we're just looking to answer as many of those questions as possible. And we're excited to once again be able to host this award, to connect with as many organizations doing the great work that is so needed. Of course, we can't fund everyone, but we do, as we talked about earlier in the slide, what we offer. Many of those things that we offer, engaging in the Partnership for Student Success, is with or without the award. So we invite you, if you aren't already, to be part of our coalition. How's it looking?
Great. Thank you, Jen. I was going to ask for the clarification between these info webinars and the office hours. So I appreciate you sharing that information. So if you have a specific question, you can email us at the email that's in the chat, or you can join those office hours and we'll answer those questions as best as we can. We also will look for opportunities to support your organizations as we can. We've had some requests of, the applications that are specifically around high impact tutoring and our TA partners want to support as many organizations as possible. So we're going to be doing what we can to help you. Just love the opportunity to read your applications and learn more about your organizations and just the great work that's happening across the country. Yeah, so excited for the excitement, I guess. Does anyone want to come off mute to ask questions? Feel free to keep popping questions into the Q&A function.
Yes,
Yeah.
we will be sharing this. We will be sharing the slides and the recording. There's already one on our landing page from the one we hosted in December as well.
Yes. And Kate clarified in one of the questions that the information will be posted within 1 week. So I'm sorry. I was a little ambitious in the give us a couple of days. No, sorry. Within 1 week, it'll be posted and it'll be emailed out to attendees. Can our project be a crossover across multiple programs in our organization? Yes, absolutely. I want to register for the 14th. Can you send an email? Yes, we will include the registration link. If you're not able to access the chat in the follow-up email, it's also on our website.
Okay, the expansion idea is not building on an existing program, for example, just using the award to fund an existing program. Correct. So we're looking for a new feature, a new element. Maybe you offer some version of mentoring, and maybe that takes place like outside of the school day. And maybe as a function of that, you're looking to expand those student supports to include some academic tutoring. That would be an interesting concept for the Community Collaboration Challenge. But funding the existing program in its current state would likely not score as well when you look at the rubric, but we're interested in hearing from you either way. Hope that example was helpful. Yes, of course. A new feature, a new element, adding an evidence-based support to the work you're already doing, things of that nature. Maybe, for example, you already support some work in this one district, but you're expanding to another district, or from a set of schools to a new set of schools. That would be another expansion. Yeah,
There was a quick question that Kate answered in the chat, but I do want to voice it over. Says, given the timeline of the grant, asking about summer camp learning opportunities during the summer. And that is correct. Summer learning opportunities are eligible and would fit into the award timeline.
hmm There's a question about evaluating a program, upgrading a system to help with program evaluation. Um, I think that certainly we would want to hear more about that. I think that we typically, as you'll see from the outcomes reports, are looking to fund with these award dollars direct supports to students. So if evaluating the program is part of that, I think that would probably score well. But when you look at the rubric, if you have more questions, you'll see a lot of ways that we're asking about what the problem is and what the solution related to those five evidence-based supports are. So I hope that helps a little bit. Dorothy, you want to expound at all, or?
I can give an example of one from last year that was a program evaluation, and part of the project was around conducting interviews with high school
That's right.
students around the impact of the work. And so that absolutely, if it's, spending, requesting $10,000 to help cover $100,000 cost of a system upgrade, it's not going to be as competitive as some of the other ones. If we expand to a new region for a
Yep.
tutoring program starting in the 26-27 school year, can award funding be used for materials and supplies for the school year if funding is utilized by October, by the October deadline?
Yeah, and I think if it's a tutoring program, perhaps there's a phase of that tutoring, the early start of the school year. Maybe there's an opportunity to set some of that up in the summer. But when you indicate your deliverables and the timeline, there's a question in the application. We're really interested in those specific deliverables that will happen through October. So it's not as though those things couldn't continue to benefit students after that, but we're looking for supporting the activities that are happening specifically during that window from essentially March until October.
Yeah, and I guess my question would be around this, utilizing materials and supplies. Are you spending the entire award on materials and supplies? Again, it's not going to score as well. What is part of the expansion work that you'll need to have for those deliverables in October? But yes, some of that funding could be spent on materials and supplies as well. But again, if it's just materials and supplies, then there's not really going to be a strong deliverable, and it's not going to be as strong of an application. Okay, next question. We have a summer program that meets the purpose of this grant. The program is a partnership between a community college K-12 school district and an economic development nonprofit. I noticed many of your awardees were K-12 with very few in economic development groups. We're planning to apply from the economic development group's perspective with letters of support from college and K-12 because it's more efficient to process through the nonprofit. Do you see any
Yes.
drawback? I don't see any drawback
Mm,
as long as it's,
no,
again, a nonprofit.
we understand. Yeah.
Mhm.
Please, Dorothy. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No. I was checking with you on that, but as long
Yeah.
again, as long as it's a
The
nonprofit.
efficiencies, yeah, the efficiencies of that group might be easier for an award amount of this nature, can be a little more overly taxing to fund this through a college or K-12. We understand what you're saying. That sounds like a really interesting collaboration. So excited to read that and learn more about it. If you see a prior awardee that you work with on there, just send us an email at the ps_success@jh.edu. We'd be happy to help you with that. Also, is it JH or JHU?
It's JH for that one.
It is JH for that one. Thank you, Kate. Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Well, you know where to find us if you have any last minute questions, but please first look at the FAQs because we will update those before the last office hours next week. But feel free to join us if there's a specific question you feel like hasn't been answered yet. Otherwise, Happy New Year. And again, thank you for your interest and thank you for the work that you lead in your communities.
Thank you. Looking forward to reading your submissions. Thank you for taking the time.